All right, today's going to be a pretty smooth lesson. It's going to be over horizontal and vertical lines. So what I have here to help us remember the difference between horizontal and vertical lines is HOI-VUX, and it's just like an acronym to help us to remember the key features of horizontal and vertical lines. So notice the way HOI is written. It's written horizontally, so the H in HOI stands for horizontal. So horizontal. Okay, the next box is going to be telling us about slope. So if a line is flat, remember anything you can walk has slope. Well, if a line is flat and you're walking on a flat line, you're not going up, you're not going down, so it's not positive, it's not negative, it's exactly flat. So we say that has zero slope. So that's what this helps from rhyming. We know that horizontal lines have zero slope and their equations will be y equals. So I'm just going to create one as an example. So let's draw a horizontal line here. Could have drawn it anywhere, but that's where I chose to do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write the equation of this horizontal line. So to write the equation, I know it's going to be y equals. And then I have to look at where it crosses the y-axis. Well, it crosses the y-axis here at 3. So that's it. Your equation is y equals 3. So I have a horizontal line that has a slope of 0, and its equation would be y equals 3 because it crosses the y-axis at 3. Okay, VUX, notice the way that it's written. It's written up and down, so the V stands for vertical. This next box is talking about our slope. So if you have a vertical line, you can't walk on a vertical line. That means you're either falling or you are flying. So remember, you have to be able to walk it to have slope. So the U is going to stand for undefined. So a vertical line has undefined slope. And its equation will be an x equals equation. So what I'm going to do is on my graph, I'm just going to make up a vertical line. And for this example, I just want to draw it here. So I have a vertical line, so I know it has an undefined slope. So let's write the equation. I know the equation will be x equals, and then I need to look at where it crosses the x-axis. Well, it crosses the x-axis at -4. And that's it. So let's move into some examples. Okay, on each of these guys, I want us to write HOI-VUX down, depending on which one it gives us, just so we get in the habit of doing that. Also write HOI horizontally and write VUX vertically, just as a reminder of what horizontal and vertical looks like. So I see y equals, so I know that's going to go with HOI, so I'm going to write HOI. So I know it's going to be a horizontal line, and I need to go on the y-axis at -3 and put a dot. So now that I have my dot where y is -3, I need to draw a horizontal line through that point. Oops, that's ugly. Okay, on number 2, I see x equals, so that's VUX. And it says x equals 4, so on the x-axis, I need to go put a dot at 4. And V stands for vertical, so I need to draw a vertical line through that point. So this is what x equals 4 looks like. Okay, number 3, I see x equals, so that's VUX. It says x equals -1, so on the x-axis, put a dot at -1. Since it's vux, v is vertical, so I need to draw a vertical line through that point. On 4, I see a y equals, that's hoi. Tells me y equals 0, so on the y-axis, I need to go put a dot at 0. Remember, this point is also called the origin. And so since it's hoi, I need to draw a horizontal line through that point. X equals, which is vux. Tells me x equals 2, so on the x-axis, put a dot at 2. Vux, the v stands for vertical, so I'm going to draw a vertical line through that point. On 6, I see y equals, so that's hoi. So I'm going to go put a dot on the y-axis at 3. Hoi, the h stands for horizontal, so I need to draw a horizontal line through that point. Okay, so for problems 7 through 12, what we're going to do is we're going to write the equation. All right, so on number 7, I see a horizontal line, so I'm going to write hoi. So if I'm writing that equation, I'm going to write y equals, and then I have to look at where it crosses the y-axis. Crosses at -2, so I know my equation is y equals -2. On number 8, I see a vertical line, so that's vux. So I know my equation is going to be an x equals equation. Go look at where it crosses the x-axis. It crosses x at 3. On 9, a vertical line, so I use vux. So the equation is x equals. I look at where it crosses the x-axis, and from the origin, it's back 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's at -4. Number 10 is a horizontal line, so hoi. So I know the equation will be y equals. I look at where it crosses the y-axis, and that's at 0. On 11, I see a vertical line, so that's vux. So to write the equation, I write x equals. I look at where it crosses the x-axis, and that's at -1. "12 is a horizontal line, so that's hoi. So I know my equation will be a y equals. I look at where it crosses the y-axis, and that's at 3. I know it's kind of hard to read that number, but I can go up 1, 2, 3 boxes. All right, this is kind of like a review. And we're going to actually practice this in class some more tomorrow. Okay, well, it wants me to find the x-intercept. Guys, the x-intercept is pretty much what it sounds like. Where does our line intercept the x-axis? How does it do that? All right, that'll work. Okay, anyway. So for the x-intercept, I'm looking at the x-axis. I see that it intercepts the x-axis here at this point. Well, guys, to write that as a coordinate, I know it already says it, but a point is always the x value, and the first number is the x, the second number is the y value. Okay, well, if we're talking about the x-intercept, I know it crosses the x at 4, so that's why I put 4 first. My y value is 0. So your x-intercept is going to be the x value when the y is 0. So that's how you can always identify your x-intercept. Look for where the y is 0. Your x-intercept is the x value when y is 0. Okay, let's do the y-intercept. So look at where it intercepts the y-axis, which is here at this point. So I know it's on the y when it's down 2, that's -2. We'll put that in the y position, that's the second number. So your y-intercept is the y value when x is 0. So one more time, the x-intercept is the x when the y is 0. The y-intercept is your y value when the x is 0. Okay, now let's do slope. We know slope is rise over run. So on a graph, we find two easy points, which we already have, and I'm going to make a triangle between them. That triangle is going to tell me how much I rise, so I know it goes up 1, 2. And it tells me how much I run, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I look, can I simplify the fraction of 2 over 4? I can. Simplifies to 1/2. So on a graph, we can't forget the last step. From the left to the right, so as I start on the left side and I move to the right, I notice my line is going up, which means my slope has to be a positive. Okay. So for my x-intercept, I have to look at where it crosses the x-axis. I see that it crosses the x-axis here. So remember, it's always the x and then the y. So since we're talking about the x-intercept, I need to fill in the x position. Well, it crosses the x over at 1, 2, 3, 4. The x-intercept is the x value when the y is 0. Let's talk about the y-intercept. So where does it intercept this y-axis? Well, I see it crosses y here. So remember, we have to put the y in the y position. So it crosses the y up 1, 2, 3. So that's a positive 3. So your y-intercept is the y value when the x is 0. So to find my slope, I do rise over run. We already have our two easy points, so I'm going to change that or turn that into a triangle. I see it rises 1, 2, 3 squares. And it runs 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So it rises 3, it runs 4. Last step, as we go from the left, so put your pencil on the left side. As you trace it to the right, you notice that your line is going down, which tells us our slope has to be a negative. All right, later guys.